Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This is a rare occasion because the kids are sleeping. Never happens. So I thought let's hang out a little bit on this Sunday quiet afternoon. Let's figure this out real quick. Guitar guy's in. Hey, Zika. Hi. Thanks for joining me, everyone. I'm going to try to put this chat on here, and of course, oh yeah, it just shows up here. This is awesome. Everyone, welcome to this live hangout. Let's take some questions. I'll make a fool of myself live for you. Just on this quiet afternoon when the kids are sleeping. So, super simple. Let's hang out. If you guys have any questions, I'll take them. I'll try my best. And thank you, everyone, for joining in. This is awesome. This is fun. I haven't done one of these in a while. Eric's here. I see a lot of familiar names. Thank you guys for coming in. Keith, Sebastian, you guys are great. So this is this setup's kind of difficult because well, it's not difficult. I'm just going through my iPad, so the sound is coming from my speaker. It sounds great here, I promise. Thank you, Chris. Okay, so that's the hard part. I think I'm going to open a chat on my phone because I see things on the screen here. They're going really fast. And if you guys are curious about what the interface looks like, let me show you. I don't know if this is going to work. But basically, of course you can't see anything. This is the worst idea ever. But you see the lower left thing right there? That's where the chats are appearing. And they scroll really fast. So, okay, Zika asked a question. I'm actually going to check on my phone, okay? For your question. And I'll answer it, maybe. Okay, this is not convenient. There's got to be a way to open the full chat. Does anyone know here? No? Do you guys know how to do that? Because I don't. That's okay. Hang on, everybody. I know. I should have thought about this before clicking live, probably. Zika, I'm coming back to you. Maybe. Okay, there we go. And, okay, that's much better. Okay, Zika, I got it. So, Zika's asking an interesting question about bar chords. Zika feels weak from what I'm reading, and having trouble with the bar chords. I get it completely, and it sounds like it's more than the beginner difficult bar chord to do, right? That's what it sounds like. So first of all, be reassured that even though when you people pound on bar chords, you've got to do them, you don't. It's good to have when you start, but honestly, I haven't really used actual bar chords in ages, in years. It's the kind of thing you learn, it's cool to learn, but then you don't use it very much. So that's the first thing that I want to say. So if you can't do it, you can still get gigs without knowing how to do those, or without the strength. That's okay. just take pieces of the bar chord. I know you're probably asking me, how can I get that strength back? I'm not sure, besides just doing it a little bit at a time, but what I do know is that you don't have to have those bar chords down necessarily. You can just take a piece of it. You know, at first, the F, for example, the full bar, difficult to play, you kind of replace it with this. So instead of having the full thing, from low E string to high E string, frets 1, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, that's the big bar right there. Well, just do a small bar here on the first 2 strings. And just take the top with a ring, middle, and then bars here. So in essence, you're just playing the 4 first strings on frets from the 4th to the 1st, frets 3, 2, 1, 1 for that shape, which is movable too. And if you want to be Hendrixy, you add your pinky on the top here for a 9th. Very Hendrixy. I really hope this helps. I'm not sure. And is there a way, for those of you who do live stuff, to actually show the chat without going so fast? I don't know. But our guitar is asking for a Mixolydian blues lesson. Should we talk about that a little bit? Maybe. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. First, blues, 1, 4, 5, right? 1st degree, 4th degree, 5th degree. If we're in A, that's A, D, E. And there's a lot of different combinations that you can use. You could use minor chords only, A minor, D minor, E minor. Right? Or you can make all those chords major, like dominant 7. Okay? So, that's the first thing. On a minor chord, typically, you want to use a minor scale. On a major chord, you want to use a major scale. That's the main definition. If you go outside of that, that's going to sound a little dissonant at times. So, for example, if I have an A minor chord, and I play a major scale on that, it doesn't work, right? Because that major third with the minor third just clashes. Okay? And in the same way, on a major chord, you don't want to play a minor scale. Because of those thirds that clash. That's the basic rule. But in blues, what makes blues, there's several things that make blues, but one of the big characteristics of the blues is that over a dominant 7 chord, or a 7 chord, you play a minor pentatonic scale, which is unheard of. You don't do that in the world of classical music, but it works. Yeah, guitar is too quiet. I'm not going to put too much more louder than that because kids are sleeping upstairs. Sorry. Okay, so that's my major dominant 7 chord. So you can play a minor chord on that. Okay, let's go to the Mixolydian stuff. Where does that fall into? Well, and I'll get back to that blend of minor and major scale in a second. A Mixolydian mode, you can see it as several things. You can see it as the 5th degree of a major scale, but that creates problems sometimes when we do it that way. The way I like to see it is the Mixolydian mode is a major pentatonic scale, 5-note scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with an additional perfect 4th and minor 7. Okay, so if you know how to phrase with the major pentatonic scale, you just add the 4th and the minor 7th. And you could just keep your improv purely major pentatonic-y. And every once in a while, add that fourth or the minor 7. Okay, so that's the Mixolydian mode. And the one thing that is really cool, let's go back really quick to using a minor pentatonic scale over dominant chord, and let's see who follows here. We said that over a dominant 7 chord, we can use a minor third in the blues, right? It will clash, but it sounds okay, right? If we take a Mixolydian mode, the formula of a Mixolydian mode, and change the major third to a minor third, what do we have? So in essence, instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, minor 7, we have 1, 2, we make the major third minor, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, minor 7. That scale, so a Mixolydian with a minor third, is called the Dorian mode. That's why I think the best scale to play, the safest scale to play in the blues is Dorian. Because Dorian suggests Mixolydian with a minor third, but even though that third clashes with the major third of the chord, we said that we can use a minor third over a major chord in blues. And that's why if you want to be safe, if you want to get outside of the pure pentatonic scale over a chord progression like this, you can play minor pentatonic, or Dorian. So that's kind of what I would use if you want to be safe, the Dorian mode. Good questions, and I really am sorry. I sometimes check out some live events, and I see the comments like going fast, and I ask a question and it's not answered, and I'm like a little frustrated. And I know that I'm doing the same to you guys, and that's because like now I see on the iPad interface it's like really fast. So that's why. Drake, way to go on your intervals. And Michael's asking how to play A minor / G sharp. Okay, and I missed the rest. But whenever you have something like that, the first part is the most important part. If you're at a gig with a lead sheet, just look at the first part, because sometimes you don't have time to think about it. And once you thought about how to do the second part, the song is 3 bars after, just like in the first part. But what it means is that the second part, like if you have a slash, that's the bass. That means that you play an A minor / G sharp, for example, you're going to get a G sharp on the bass, which is right there. That kind of sound. Not the most beautiful sound, but it's a passing type of tone. But really, if you can't play it at a live gig, don't worry about it, because it's still going to sound the same. Why? Because usually at gigs, there's a bass player. The bass player is going to play that G sharp. And actually, it's sometimes even better not to worry about that on your own, because that way the bass is going to be taken care of by one instrument, and the higher part, the G minor, by another, the guitar. And those interaction of tonal characteristics blending together create richness that sometimes gets lost when two instruments play the same exact note. Does that make sense? But so the way I would play it, so you might be tempted to play an A minor here, okay, and then reach for that G sharp. It's like, I don't want to do that. Well, just think in terms of where's your G sharp? It's right here, and try to find an A minor in a closer zone of the fretboard. Maybe instead of playing it here, you play it here, right there. And you just kind of pick your notes, so you don't have to play all the notes in A minor. Maybe you just pick these, which are in A minor. And now, Okay, yeah, I get this. This is way easier. Way easier than that. So think in terms of zones of the fretboard, like that. That'll really, really work. Oh, I missed your question. The last question seemed interesting. Maybe I can catch it here. Yeah, how to mix chords and licks organically, like math rock, chord, melody stuff. And thank you for the compliment. Thank you very much. You know, I'm not quite sure. I'm not what's the word? Knowledgeable in math rock, that style. So I'm not sure. I know it has to do with odd time signatures and things like that, but the style itself is not familiar to me. But I think the principle works exactly like the video I uploaded yesterday, where you blend scale shapes with chords, and really it's really simple. It's just exploring that on your own, but it's basically you playing a scale in a zone of the fretboard that is reachable. Try not to do scales that go all across, but in a contained zone, like say A Lydian, for example. All these notes are possible chords, and just like a piano, a sustain pedal, I have one here. You know, if you have a sustain pedal on your keyboard, you press that pedal and the note's gonna last. Well, we don't have a sustain pedal here, but you just keep a note on your fretboard. So you just start playing. Like that kind of thing. And you don't need to know the names of the chords for this because you're just playing. It would be like me talking to you and spelling out every single word that I'm saying. I don't need to do that. I'm just communicating, knowing that the words that come out of me usually work because I'm using the English alphabet, the English grammar rules. And same with music. You know that chords are extracted from scales. A scale is the alphabet. You just play your alphabet. Anything you play within that is going to work. That means that you can play a note at a time, or two at a time. And those chord shapes are not chord shapes that I've learned, memorized, all that. I'm just playing and focusing on any of these notes and leaving a finger on there. Like that. I hope that kind of helps a little bit. If you haven't seen yesterday's video, check it out. It has to do with that exact topic, where you're blending scales and chords. I hope it helped. You're welcome, Sebastian. Thank you for asking it. Kids are still sleeping. I cannot believe it. Now, yes, they've been down for only 30 minutes, but my kids don't sleep. They're like their dad. I don't like to take naps. Why aren't the different positions of the pentatonic scales called modes? Andrew, my answer is going to upset people who know. The way I see it, and I know it's not true, but it helped me. There's this debate, you know, what is a mode? What is a scale? What is a position? And yes, there are some technical truths to define those things. And I don't know them because I'm not interested. Because I don't think it's going to serve my music. But I think a scale is a mode is a scale. It doesn't, at least the way that I use them, and it all comes down to an alphabet, so I don't know why, but I see a pentatonic scale as an alphabet. I'll bring it all to an alphabet. There are simple forms of alphabet, 5-letter alphabets, pentatonic. More complex forms of alphabet, 7-letter alphabet, 7-note scales. All those things are just a set of rules or organized letters, notes, from which you extract words, from which you can build sentences and you can build musical stories. Some words can have one letter said at a time. Some can have multiple sounds at the same time. You know those singers who do 2 pitches at the same time, like that kind of thing? And there's some languages that do that too. And those are chords. And it all comes down to musical alphabets, I think. But anyways, that was a bad answer. Video about down tuning with mixing modes would be a good topic, yeah. How do you study music theory and how do you practice intervals? And I missed the rest. But the way I would practice music theory is start with the song or the playing. Start with communicating. You won't teach a baby how to spell words. He's got to start experimenting. But once you're at a point where you have a problem, ask yourself, can that problem be fixed by technique or knowledge? It's going to be one of those. Sometimes it's a little bit of both. And then that's your entryway towards a theory element. You don't have to learn all music theory at once. So a problem that you could have is, I've got this cool song. I don't know what to play over that. Well, that's where you start digging, and that's an open way to theory. Intervals are really simple. I think it's mostly a vocabulary thing for intervals. There are 7 types of intervals. The second, not the first, because 1, that's the starting note, that's not an interval. An interval is the distance between 2 notes. But 1 is the root, the note from which you're measuring all the others. And there's 7 types. So there's a second, a third, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. All those intervals can be major or minor. Okay? All of them. Except those who are not. Except the 4th and the 5th. And those are the middle ones. Right in the middle. And those are perfect. Not major, not minor. They're perfect. And so what you need to learn is one scale, one shape that you can move different frets and different strings sometimes, and maybe a few shapes because of that weird tuning thing. But if you're figuring, here's very simple. You're going to learn how to figure out any interval in a few minutes. You've got your major scale shape. I'll show you an A, okay? A, low E string, 5th fret. Here's that shape. 2 notes on the low E string, 5, 7. On the next string we have 4, 5, 7. Next string, 4, 5, 7. Okay, that's the scale. That's 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 is 1. It's from that note that we're going to measure everything else. Once you know that scale, any of the landing notes is an interval. So that's a second, that's a third, the 3rd note, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and that shape is movable, yes. So within that interval, once you know that shape lists all the major and perfect intervals. It's the major scale too, but that's what it is. So if I ask you from this note right here, which is an A, could you play a major 6th? The answer is yes. Play the shape mentally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is. That's a major 6th. So if someone asks you to play a chord, so you've got a chord and they ask you, add a major 6th to that. Okay, mentally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is. Try to maybe change a few notes. There you go. That's the 6th. I got it. Okay? And that's movable. So now if you're on a low E string 12th fret, play a major 3rd. Follow your shape. 1, 2, 3. There you go. That's it. Play a perfect 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just play that one shape. That's it. Now if you want to play a minor interval is 1 fret lower than a major one. So play minor 6. Okay, minor 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 fret lower. There you go. That's a minor 6th. And I'll get to that in a second, Aga, for the flat stuff. Okay, so play a minor 7th from that note. Follow your shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know that shape lists all the major and perfect intervals. To make a major interval minor, you move it now with that note 1 fret lower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. Minor 7th, right there. Now, you asked about the flat 5th. So I told those, that's diminished. Diminished and augmented are terms that we can use to alter, change notes. And those are usually applied to the 4th and the 5th, the middle intervals that are perfect. But if you notice here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, between 4 and 5, there is a note. That needs to be named. Is it a major 4th? No, because I said that that doesn't exist. There's only perfect 4ths and perfect 5ths. But you can alter those. So if you want to alter a 4th, you can alter it, you can make it smaller, diminished, 1 fret lower, or augmented, 1 fret higher. A 5th can be made smaller, diminished, augmented, 1 fret higher. So really there are 3 types of 4ths: perfect, diminished, and augmented. 3 types of 5ths: perfect, diminished, and augmented. So a flat 5, a diminished 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 1, flat 5. Okay, and there you go. So that's, I hope that helps. When should I learn about modes and what is modulation? You should learn about modes anytime you're bored with what you're playing. You're welcome. So anytime you're bored with your playing, if your playing is very pentatonic based, which is great, it's awesome. There's so many things you can do, but you feel that you're always playing, you know. All your solos kind of sound the same. That's why you want to add some letters to your alphabet. And really, you're only 2 notes away, because within most commonly used minor modes, which are 7-note scales, you find most of the time a minor pentatonic scale. So you only need to add 2 notes to the minor pentatonic scale to have a mode, a 7-note scale. You only need to add 2 notes to a major pentatonic scale to have a major, commonly used major mode. So you're very close. You're way closer than you think. The problem that people have often when they start playing, when they want to learn modes, is that they bring back modes to their origins. Modes are extracted from a major scale, and so they think that, well, if they're extracted from a major scale, I'll just have to learn that major scale and mentally start that major scale from a different note. Yes, it does work, but you're wasting each time you've got to play something, you're going back to that major scale, which does several things. First of all, it takes a little bit of mental processing power to convert each time you've got to play. So if someone's like, yeah, let's play something in B Dorian. B Dorian, okay, B Dorian, that's Ionian, Dorian, so one note below B Dorian. No, I'm ready. Okay? It takes a few seconds. You don't have time for that sometimes. That's the first problem. The second problem is that if you bring everything back to a major scale, then your improvs are going to be very directed by that major scale, that major position that you learn, whether it's a 3-note per string thing or not. Yes, the notes are going to work, but your improv is going to be very influenced by that position. That's what creates, you know, this. That kind of lick is overheard, right? It's great. I do it all the time. But that lick is really heavily influenced by the position, not by your ear. And if all your leads are influenced by comfort zones on the fretboard, so if you bring every mode back to a major scale, your solos are going to be very similar to each other. They're all going to sound alike because they're directed by your comfort zone instead, it should be directed by what's in your mind. You kind of sing inside and you play it. That's how it should be directed. Did that answer the question? I hope. But you can start now. And really a tip when you get into modes. So don't go to the shortcut, going back to the major scale, and really see each of these modes as unique and individual scales. Would you recommend the cage system or the 3-note per string method for learning scales? It depends on the style of music that you're going to play. So I don't really have a suggestion. You can start with either, but I really do think that you should have both together. You should be comfortable with both. But I will say this. When I started playing, I was very 3-note per string because, well, first of all, the style of music that I was into, and they were easy to memorize, and I could play faster. And that was cool, because I wanted to play fast. And when I played, I had two ways of playing. I had the 3-note per string way of playing, which was very legato-like, very fast-like, and modal type of thing. So whenever I had to play modes, it was that kind of thing. 3-note per string. And whenever I played blues, it was very, But I can never have a solo with two of these things at the same time going on. For a long time, for years. Until I really realized that what I said a few minutes ago, within those modes, most of the time you find one of those traditional pentatonic scales. So if we leave the Locrian aside, and we consider the most commonly used major modes, Ionian, Mixolydian, Lydian, what we find is that we have a hidden major pentatonic in there. So that's cool. Within the commonly used minor modes, Dorian, Phrygian, Aeolian, we have a minor pentatonic. That means that 5 notes are common to those 3 minor modes or major modes, and those modes have 7 notes, therefore there are only 2 notes I need to add. And that got me into, I was comfortable with my pentatonic phrasing, so I would just play pentatonic regardless of the mode, but land on one of these 2 notes or add one of these 2 notes, like I showed you for the Mixolydian stuff. So if I had to play Dorian, I was no longer playing Dorian like this, like that. That last note was outside, but 3-note per string. But I could phrase more musically with my minor pentatonic, because Dorian, okay, there's a minor pentatonic in there, played minor pentatonic. But I added the 2 missing notes, which is major 2nd and major 6th. And whenever I wanted to move to a different zone of the fretboard, that's why I would rely on the 3-note per string. And so forth. So I hope that kind of helps. So 3-note per string versus chord versus caged, all of them, I think. So Locrian could be used in can be used in multiple ways. The Locrian is also a mode that is extracted from the major scale, and the formula of that mode has a lot of alterations in it, which makes it sometimes unpleasant to the ear. It's a root, flat 2nd, flat 3rd, 4th, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. A lot of flats, and that's why it's not used very often, but it can be done, and that's the chord that is extracted from that mode. So I've got a hiss there. I've got to fix that at some point. So that's that mode right there. But you can use it as a passing mode too, as a position thing, not as a key necessarily. But yeah, it's true. It's not, you don't hear many Locrian tunes on the radio. What would be the best chronology or order of learning theory topics to go from playing all the fretboard by ear to producing the sounds that are in your head? I would start with intervals, definitely. Start with learning your intervals, where they are, and most importantly, the sound of them. And so that's really the big thing. So that doesn't mean that, okay, I'm here, got to play a major 6, there it is on the spot. You can still think about it, but I would start with that. And once you did that, what I would start doing is taking whatever elements you play, maybe it's a lick, maybe it's a song or whatever, and start analyzing it. See what's going on, what kind of intervals, what kind of formula is happening. And then once you're comfortable with that, I'm assuming, well, you play all over the fretboard already, so you probably know your pentatonic scales. Then do the work of associating with the typical used modes, some pentatonic scales. So recap: Dorian, Phrygian, Aeolian, minor pentatonic. Ionian, Lydian, Mixolydian, major pentatonic. Okay, so that's that would be my tip. We just had a question on time signatures. It's been asked. I need to come up with a lesson on that. So I'm taking note of your question, and I'll do something like that. Great questions, everyone. Thank you for spending this time with me. Do you hear this? That buzz? It's whenever I don't. It's got to be a ground issue, right? Whenever I hands off. Got that, so I need to get this fixed at some point. I love this guitar though. Patrick asks about tapping. A little bit, but not in a long time. Haven't really developed it, so not really. But I love the sound, but I haven't really worked on it. But I really like the sound. Speaking of topics, if you guys have any topic suggestions, there is a form that I have. I'll leave that in the comments. This video will be converted into a full regular video, and I'll leave it in the comments if you have any topic suggestions for a future video. I'm always taking them. I find it difficult sometimes to come up with topics, and if you guys have any, let me know. This has been a while. I think I started this YouTube thing in 2000, about 9 years ago. That's a long time. Anything better than U-Rock MIDI guitar? To me, yes. And, well, it depends. But yes, my favorite MIDI system, I'll show you what it is. There's a review on my channel. It's the triple play. It's in my closet. I'm in the process of moving offices. It's somewhere, but it's the triple play, and it's very, very good. And it's basically a wireless pickup that you place here, but you don't have to screw in your guitar or anything like that, and it's wireless MIDI. It works really, really well. And let's see. I really, really like it. There's a review. Fishman does that. So the Fishman triple play. Jennifer Batten uses that a lot in her live sets, and it works great. Patrick asks a really good question. The biggest hurdle that I've had, I think the biggest one was due to me comparing myself to others. That created a lot of discouragements. And just realizing that I'm never going to play like them, not because I can't, but because I can't. Yeah, because I can't, because I'm not them, and vice versa. That was the biggest thing. But I think if you're talking about a purely musical thing, for me, it was that mode thing, like being able to blend the pentatonic type of playing with the modes. That was the biggest thing, and realizing that, okay, I can find some pentatonic scales within the most complex modes, and that's awesome. That worked. So that'll be my tip. Any other questions that I can answer? That buzz is driving me nuts. I'm gonna add a noise gate here. I'm using the Axe effects, and there's a software. You guys can see what I'm doing here. That's the Axe Edit. Sorry. And so it's in tuner mode right now. Hear that? No, we don't want that. So I've got a noise gate here. There you go, magic. All right. Sometimes it alters the tone a little bit, but I think this should be okay. So XLR, been considering, I missed the rest of the question. Purchasing one of my courses, and I missed the rest. Do it. All right, so Trev is asking about the Axe Exchange. Yes, all my patches are from Axe Exchange, or the ones that I made are on Axe Exchange. So they're all there. Just search for Wallerman. Any tips on dividing a 4-hour practice slot for intermediate? Yes, it's going to depend on, well, it depends on where you're at and what you want to work on. But one thing that I would say is really write it down before you practice. Have a journal where you keep everything timed so that when you sit down, and 4 hours is a lot, by the way, which is good, but it doesn't have to be 4 hours, but it's really split it. And that would really help, I think. Dip is asking what this channel is about. This channel is about helping guitar players find their voice on the instrument and develop it. So that means lessons, a lot of lessons and things like that. Metal practicing tips, I don't have any because I don't play much metal. I like it, but I'd give you horrible tips if I had some. Speakers, I'm playing through Adam A7Xs right now, which is my best instrument player. There's a lot. I don't have a favorite one, but there's a lot that I like. Favorite software for composing? I'm on a Mac, so that limits things, but I like Logic Pro 10. I switched to that maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I really like it a lot. And Singer is same, you know, there's so many. I don't know. I'm thinking about Chris Cornell right now, but there's so many. I don't know. I just saw a question about thick picks. I'm not sure what the question was. And then Trav is asking about MIDI guitar. Thick picks, my picks are pretty thick. They're V picks, and I've been playing those for maybe 7 years. I really like them a lot. Okay, request on Little Wing. Let me change my patch. I haven't played this in a while, but I love that song. I love Jimmy too. Something like that. I can't remember. There was, oh yeah, MIDI guitar too. I haven't tried it in a while since I got the triple play. But I remember when I tried it, it was such a good software. It did such a good job, and I need to try the new version too. I think they released an update. I'm really curious about it, but I was really blown away by, you just plug your guitar in your sound interface and it translates into MIDI almost real time. That was really good. So I'm asked about playing Joe's song. It's been a while. I don't know many songs anymore. Tips on learning chords, it comes back again to the interval thing. Like that, learning intervals, then you can alter those chords. So if you hear, you want to add like a sharp 11, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 11 an octave lower, right there. There it is. And then you don't have to memorize the chord shapes, but if you know your intervals, you can alter those chords however you want. So that's the idea. I don't know Despicatito. I don't know that song. Yes, ask a question, definitely. Do you like and use the whole tone and enigmatic scale? I don't remember how the enigmatic scale goes, but the whole tone, yes, I like that a lot. World according to Joey, yes I am. Whole tone, like that. I use it a lot in blues on a dominant 7 chord. And it sounds good as a passing tone where you're playing your pentatonic stuff. That kind of thing, I really like that a lot. I remember, well, Joe's The Enigmatic, hearing that 15 years ago or something, and really liked it. And no, World of, I can't remember I'm sorry, can't remember. No, you're not. That's fine. This is what it's about, asking questions and trying to answer them. Okay, tips on using diminished chords as substitutes. And I missed the rest. I don't have any answer. It's putting me on the spot too much. But my tip, actually, would be to pick one of those. So, for example, the altered scale, okay? The diminished. Let's do diminished. There are 2 diminished, one that starts with a half step, one with a full step. Just play it first from anywhere. Let's do the diminished that starts with a half step. See what it makes you feel like, and then just try it in a static, like stable improv. So let's say you're in B Dorian, okay? You're playing in B Dorian the way that I showed you, where you have your scale. So you establish the mood. And then you try that scale from B again and you see what happens. And really, you'll see that if you play with intent and focus and confidence, whatever scale you use is going to make sense to the listener, especially if you don't play over a backing track. It's a great exercise to do. Even if it's not a scale, but just a shape, like that. I don't know what I'm playing, but I'm trying to fool you as to, okay, I know what I'm doing. I don't, but I'm playing like I do. And that's a lot of times the secret to that. I don't know what that was, but I just do it. So the intent is what you want to have. Just play with confidence, even if you don't know what you're playing. And that means that you are in control of the velocity of the notes that you're playing. Loud, soft, vary that. It needs to be delivered exactly the way you want it to be delivered. If not, if I want to play a loud note, but it comes out slow, then people can see that, okay, that was not intended. And you work on this with just a few notes, 3 notes, and make sure that you anticipate how you want them to sound. Maybe the first note's really loud, the others not as loud. And work on that gradually, and then eventually you make music out of nothing. You don't know what you're playing, but you try to be as expressive and meaningful as you can with things that are not necessarily scales or anything planned. That kind of thing, which sometimes doesn't come out the way you want it to come. And even if it's, yes, it sounds atonal, kind of outside jazzy, but not a jazz player, but it really helps your delivery and your message if you do that. So I'd definitely recommend trying that. I don't know Bill Jennings. For those of you who are interested in the intervals thing or theory and feeling a little confused, check out Guitar Infusion, one word. So Guitar Infusion, like a T thing, the T Infusion, INFUSION.com, and sign up for free, and I'll send you a free starting music theory course for guitar. I try to make it super accessible, not much playing, but more conceptual type of thing. So try that. And can I play funk? Yes, sometimes. I don't know any Satriani anymore. It's been a long time. Although he brought me to guitar. He's the one who made me want to play. Problem is, like, I don't know any songs. Haven't needed to learn songs for a long time. Drop my transparent pick. Here it is. Was it that? Something like that. I can't remember. But I really like Satch. Hey Ryan, welcome. So Argyle gets nervous when he starts playing in front of people. I get it. Totally. Yes, Max. Yes, I get it. And that exercise is going to help you where you are. Let me change sounds real quick. You're playing on your own, and you just... Anticipating what you're going to play and play it is really going to help. And also, when you play in front of people, like this is what I did here, even though I can't see you, but before playing, I don't play. Just breathe. And play a note. Like, people are silent, that establishes the mood a little bit. And then you just play a note. That's enough. You don't need to impress anyone, right? But that's enough. And if you play it with confidence, people are going to respect you most of the time. Ryan, RNA Music. Ryan from RNA Music asks if I have a practice routine to maintain things. Unfortunately, no. I really should. But the last... especially, as you know, Ryan, especially through since having kids, like I don't practice anymore. This is a rare thing where I just sit. But I used to, and I used to like it. Someone asked if I just improvise because I guess it's has to do with me not knowing any songs. It's not that I've never known any songs. I started playing when I was 15. I'm 40, so I've been playing 25 years. And for years, I did the traditional bands things, working on learning songs and solos, note per note, and this and that and this and that, which is great, still like, until I stopped because I fell into composing, and I love composing, and I don't have much interest, not that it's bad, but for me, and learning other people's songs. Not that it's bad. Don't take it out of context, and I know that some of you will. Nothing wrong with that. But for where I'm at right now, I get most joy out of not even playing guitar. I like playing. But my favorite thing to do is to compose and teach. Those are my favorite things. And that's what I do for now. So, hard to play scales for more than an hour? Yeah, and it would be for me too. So don't do it. But really go back to, you don't need to practice scales for an hour. You don't need to say the alphabet for an hour. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Z. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's exactly what you're doing. You don't need to. You can do it faster than that. You already know it. Now, it's making words that should take you an hour instead of practicing the scale. I think, well, I say that, but it really depends on the style of music that you're playing. So, but I think it might be more interesting to focus on finding words and combination of words, licks, within those scales. But yes, speed, yeah, definitely. What I would say is probably not going to be the best advice because I'm not a super fast player. I would like to be, but I haven't spent time doing it. But when I was 20 years ago, what I did is have 8-hour program days, unemployed, South France, where I am born and grew up. I was just really into it. And where I developed some speed was to really have the program down where I do 5 minutes of this, just 5 minutes, maybe on this kind of thing. And then 2 minutes of massaging from this to the tip. drinking a lot of water, and really in chunks like that, 5 minutes, and writing down the metronome time. But now what I find interesting when I'm trying to work on the speed is not to actually work on the speed, but work on shortcuts. So for example, you guys should watch Troy Grady, which he's an incredible teacher and really broke down that thing. But that inspired me, I didn't make it up at all, but to try to find ways to really make it easier on you, and then things kind of flow. Like this lick, this thing. That, for example. It sounds fast to me, and it's very easy because I've got my pattern. But it's built for a mechanical thing where every starting of a new idea starts with a downstroke, which makes it less things to think about for the right hand, because it's, recurring technique. So I've got upstroke, down, up, upstroke, legato, down, upstroke, same, it just repeats. Like that. So that's what I would do, really focus on analyzing what are some of the stumbling blocks, and then get past those maybe by changing positions or things like that. Can modes be played not in the related chords? I'm not sure I understand the question. If you can rephrase. Et Griffer, oui, je suis français. Mais mon accent, c'est un peu comme Vandame en ce moment. Ça fait longtemps que je n'ai pas parlé français. Mais je suis aux États-Unis depuis 15 ans et je viens d'Aix-en-Provence en fait. Donc merci beaucoup. Thanks for the link, Trev. Yeah, it's weird to speak French. Ça fait bizarre. Et je vais faire une confession. J'ai été embauché par Guitar Pro, qui sont une compagnie française, ok, pour faire des vidéos pour eux. Et donc il y a des vidéos en anglais et il y a des vidéos en français. Et j'ai fait la vidéo de présentation en français, je leur ai envoyé. Et j'attends leur retour, mais j'ai trop peur de, de savoir ce qu'ils vont dire. Avec mon accent pourri. On va voir. Connor, how long do you think you should practice? I think you should practice until you're blue in the face and your fingers really hurt. No, you don't, I'm joking. No, I think you should practice until you get bored of it and then move on to something else and come back to it when you feel that it's been a little while. And a little while, I'm not talking days, I'm talking like if you're practicing an hour in the morning, whatever it is, and then you get tired of it or whatever, you do something else, and then as your day goes by, you're like, man, I can't wait to get back to that. Then you get back to it. So I don't think it's an hour thing. And I think it's also a dedicated thing. So effective practice is much more effective than passive practice, which is the kind of practice you do, watching The Simpsons on TV. That's beneficial. Passive practice, where you're playing on those kind of things. Seriously, no, stop. Just try to focus on a little bit of both. The effective practice, where you're really going where you should go, and the passive practice, where that's strengthening the things that you do know what to do. Okay, we're a little higher than an hour here. Kitty, you're in timeout. Okay, Any last minute question? Kids are going to get up soon. But it's been real pleasure. This, by the way, it sounded better than I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing here. But here's a little tip. Here's a shape. Check this out. Do a bar, the index, on 5, for example. And then we're going to add to the middle finger on the 2nd string, 1 fret higher than the bar, so 6th fret. Pinky on the 8th fret. Okay, so that's your shape. Got it? So we got a bar on 5, middle on the 2nd string, 6th, pinky on the 1st string, 8. Okay? Your thumb is going to play the bass. You choose 6th string, 5th string, 4th string. Doesn't matter. Okay? Index, middle, ring is going to play the first 3 strings. So, okay? Or you pick the bass on the 5th string. Works too. Or 4th. So we got 3 chords in one. And then move that anywhere on the fretboard. And then add a little bit of rhythm. Play that at Guitar Center. People are going to think you know what you're doing. But you don't. Or maybe you do. That's just a little magic chord. Zen is asking how to come up with new ideas. But putting the guitar down. Have a chord, for example, or a backing track. Okay, you got a chord. That's what you got to play over. Put the guitar down. Imagine the chord that you just heard. And then just start imagining and singing. Okay. Okay, cool. Reproduce that. Okay, cool. And I would not have come up with that just by playing. It's because I put the guitar down that broke the automatic playing confidence thing. Go to comfort zones, play this, that broke that bypassed that, and the music came from inside. And all the ideas that you can have are inside with your experiences, with your all those things. So that's how you break out of a routine playing and finding new ideas, I think. That's very beneficial. So there's effects here. I didn't know that. Did you guys know? So if I want to have bubbles, I can do this. I didn't know that there was all these effects. Merci beaucoup, Griffer. Tu viens d'où, au fait? Rambouillet, ok. Hi, Paul. I don't do live streams every week. It's been a while since I've done one. This was unplanned. The kids are sleeping, so I thought I'd hang out with you guys a little bit. I don't, but I probably will do. Okay, this is the little change that is going to happen soon. I signed a lease for an outside office, and that means that I will be able to do more videos. So I'm excited about that. Sorry, I've got to refresh that. So I think I'll be able to do more. We'll see. Voice leadings. Are you talking about voicings, or improv with the with chords? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, excuse me. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yep. I'll tell him. Yes, he is. Brenter, that was your mom. Your snack's ready. See you next time. All right, guys. There always is. We didn't get much today. That's great. So, oral powell, I would say definitely take a look at the intervals. Study those, because that'll allow you to recycle those. But what I would say too is, one thing that's very helpful is to have a guitar diagram, a fretboard diagram, empty. Pick a scale, a mode, whatever, and write down. I'll get to your question in a second, Kevin. Thank you for repeating it. I think you asked several times. Sorry. But yeah, put on a diagram, fretboard diagram, all the notes of all that scale, and just play random notes out of that, and you'll find some new voicings. Always works for me. So I think that'll be a good thing. Speed. So you asked about speed, and I think, was it Kevin? Yeah, Kevin. So I don't think it's an age thing, first of all. I think it's more of a time thing. Unless there's some physical limitations, but you're young, you're 65, you're not old. But I think what you need is just a routine, a practice routine, where you do a little bit every day like that. That'll be very beneficial. Little exercises, getting comfortable. And I think with speed, one of the biggest stumbling block with speed is synchronization between both hands, which is done slow. But what I would do, Clifford, je vais regarder ta chaîne après. I will check out your channel after. But what I would do is, lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. Practice something at a comfortable speed. So let's say that you want to do this. Okay, comfortable speed, very repetitive, with a metronome. And then once you feel like it's kind of a warmth, it doesn't hurt, but a tiny bit. It's the good type of warmth in your fingers. That's your fingers telling that I'm ready to go faster. Don't give in. Build that warmth. I hope it does help for me, but have that warmth really build up, and resist the urge to go faster. Take a few seconds, a couple minutes, whatever, break, and then increase the speed to 20 more or something like that, and you'll see that giving in to that warmth that built up will help you attain higher speeds. And then at some point you're going to mess up. But that's okay. Realizing that you can gradually build up like that, not giving in to the temptation of playing faster once you feel the warmth, I think that's really going to help you. It helps me a lot in my playing. but it's that warmth thing. It feels good. It feels really good. Thank you so much, Vladimir. So showing, playing with, let's see, mixed chords and solos. Yes. And I like to start with either some form of E, because then I can, you know, have that bass. And A. But I'm going to try not to do that. So something like that maybe, but a lot of it is the caged system, different zones of the fretboard like that. When I improvised, what do I think about? Matthew's asking. It depends. Yeah, it depends. Usually nothing though. There is the automatic type of playing, the path, where when I'm talking to you, I know that I'm using A, B, C, all those sounds that make the English language. That set of sound when I'm talking to you. See, if I switch French, there's a different set of sounds. Si je parle français, c'est des sons différents, mais ça marche toujours. It still works in French. So it's a context of sounds, and I'm thinking about those. The context is the scale. So if I'm starting to play a few notes, you know, that's the context. So I don't have to think about that. I don't know the scale, but I know the context. And from there, I can either sustain some notes or one note at a time. I just go from hearing inside. Okay, I want to do, and I just imagine what I want. And if that gets very tiring mentally, because it does sometimes, that's where I would maybe blend in some rests. And the rests need to be filled with music, so I go on the automatic mode. And then I go back to the more focused. And I want to finish major because I like it. I don't know. Something like that. So it all comes from, yeah, it really comes from inside. All right. Does singing notes help when you play? Yes, absolutely. And it helps with ear training and intervals, yeah. Being able to associate the name of the interval with what you sing, major third, will help you recycle those sounds at will. I don't know what that was, but yeah, hearing will really be an endless source of new ideas, hearing what you want to play and then reproduce it. But it's really, really, really not as hard as it seems like. It's really all about singing something, da da ba da ba da ba da bum, and then finding da ba da ba da ba da ba bum bum, and reproducing it. And at first it's ba da ba. It's going to be a lot of that, but then you're going to get it spot on. At some point, it's going to happen, just like a baby learning how to speak. Just tries a lot of things, is not scared of messing up the words, but you just try until you associate with the output, the word, the lick, the idea, the sound, your whole, the way your body carries itself. So when you speak, it's through the vocal cords and all that, but playing, it's through this, and it's exactly the same, but the thought comes from inside. Should come in from inside. I think, well, it doesn't, no, just do whatever you want. Tips to create longer ideas, so development. Fate is like, that's very, very nice comment. So I'll translate. Okay, there's two. I started answering two questions at the same time. Oh no, and I forgot the first one. All right, Fate. Okay, hang on. Okay, yes. Okay, I got both questions. Flatty, I will answer yours in a second. Fate, thank you. So really quick, I'll translate what Fate said. That when I play, doesn't feel any influence. It's very nice of you to say. I don't know that everybody would agree. I don't know if I agree, but I really appreciate it. But it comes from the fact that I'm unique and you are too. And the idea is that you would play if you just spend time with your guitar out of sight, out of mind, because then you're going to be tempted to play. Just sing and then reproduce what you are singing. That's the key. But the question that Vladdy had is about tips on creating longer improvised ideas. Yeah, the main thing to remember, and I don't mean this in a bad way at all, but consider that when you're playing, the listeners are young kids, little kids who don't have your vocabulary. Let's pretend. It's not. It doesn't mean anything bad at all, but they're foreign, so you've got to guide them by the hand to your world, musical world. So that means choice of words. That means repetition. If you're talking to someone who does not speak your language, slow it down and show them something like, you're foreign, do you want coffee? Coffee? You repeat that word, coffee, you show it. Make sure you understand. Coffee? Drink? Yeah? So when you play, take that approach. So that means don't start playing with, Don't do that. Instead, start like really simple sentence. Okay, he didn't understand that, so say it a little differently, and then try a different route and repeat that. When I say repeat, don't clone it. Like if this is your idea, Don't repeat it multiple times. If that person didn't understand the word the first time, just try it differently. Those two ideas are very similar. Develop like that. And don't feel that the listener is bored if you do that. Because, well, first of all, if he is, it's not a big deal. It's just music, you know. It's it's okay. But really spend time developing, and silence also is important. Because if I do, silence and volume is important. You don't have to, I'm stressed out because I'm going to have to play and, oh my gosh, here it goes. I've got to make an impression right away. No. That you can make a better impression by just putting people in the mood. Quiet. It's okay. Like, it's okay. Or maybe this one, yeah. Okay. Now I have your attention, right? It's quiet. So what I play is going to have more impact. And you gradually increase the vocabulary that you're using. By maybe adding more complex words. And sometimes quiet notes have a better impact than regular notes. Because you really pay attention. That's the secret. Okay, so those are the thoughts that come to mind. Just bring it back to speech and imagine that you're talking to someone who is foreign. You got to take time to do that. Metalhead Hippie is asking a good idea on learning with drop D. Man, I love the sound of drop D. I love it, but I haven't done it enough. So I'm really sorry. I need to maybe think about a lesson on that or something. Kent is having trouble knowing what scales to use over chords. So first of all, there are two types of chord progressions. There are chord progressions that are built into a single scale. Those are the simplest. And some that modulate, change keys in the middle at some point. Those are a little more complex. But if we start with single key scales, no matter the chord, if it's in a single key, the notes of that chord, no matter how many notes in that chord, are going to be extracted from that scale. So if we have a 7-note scale, there's a multitude of chords that you can use. Just pick any of the notes of that scale, not just in that area, the fretboard, but anywhere, you'll have some chords. Regardless of the bass, so that means that if you don't know which scale to use, just pretend that the chord you're playing is extracted from a scale. Okay. Which scale, that's the question. That's okay. You have clues in the first chord. If that chord is extracted from a scale, then the notes of that chord are from the scale. Therefore, if you have a chord progression that is this, these notes are extracted from the scale. If you're considering that you have a single scale, that means that the second chord is also extracted from that same exact scale. That means that over this second chord, you can play the notes of the first chord. Right? So why not take this, make a little motif. Are you playing within the scale? Yes. Na, na, na. Da, na, na. Right, that works. And this too. Da, na, 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 na. Yeah. Da, na, 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 na. And so forth. So that means that, okay, you're already playing in the scale. You don't know the name. That doesn't matter. You already know. If your first chord has 3 notes, that means that you know 3 notes of the scale. If the second chord has 3 other notes, you know 6 notes, and most scales have 7. So look at the chords, extract from it, not necessarily all the notes, you don't have time, just one, focus on 1 or 2, and see what happens. And then gradually add new notes from the chords. So look at the chords, that'll tell you the scale. All right, I'm gonna have to take this. Be right back. Yep. Yeah, it's fine. I'm just doing a live thing. Oh, it's okay. No, almost. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. They're still sleeping. So I'll get them ready. And, yep. Yeah. So yeah, I got the address. So I'll text you on my way. Okay. All right. All right. See you in a little bit. Bye. All right. I'm glad they called because it's 3 o'clock. Gotta get the kids up. Swimming pool lesson. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me. You guys are great. Tomorrow's video is different. It's on business stuff, but it's a really practical tip on how to actually make money reviewing gear. That's exactly how I did it when I started out, and it works, or it worked for me. So don't miss that. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you, everyone. You guys are great. I really appreciate your time. Sorry for all the questions that I did not answer. Hope this was valuable. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. See you later. Bye.